dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Kristian Lavolsi, welcome to the hot seat. It is Wednesday again. However, it's not 5 p.m. It is 3:03 here in Sydney. How are you going today?
I am good. I am real good.
Didn't you? Welcome to the hot seat. Now, we're here a bit earlier today. I'm excited about this because this is like my last little hour of power before kids come home and, you know, my normal distractions that happen on a hot seat of kids in the background, a dog barking or something like that. This is my silent and my genius zone. I actually work quite silently in my house. I don't even like having the radio or anything on. I do like dead silence, which I think is really fitting for our conversation today that we're going to be talking about employee productivity. So should we just get straight into it? I really don't like that you have control of all these things.
Anyway, we haven't had any complaints about my ludicrous, terrible sound effects, and I'm quite surprised because I thought that by now we'd have someone go, "Okay, Kristian, your content's good, but the sound effect sucks."
Stop with the effect.
By the way, I have not even had someone tell us they're great either. So,
yeah, well, we'll just keep rolling with it until we're told otherwise, right? Why not?
That's right.
All right, let's get straight into today's question. So this week I really wanted to talk to you about employee productivity. There's many words for employees, whether you call them staff. I don't particularly like that word, you know, talent, your team, your collaboration, your collective, whatever you like to refer to it to. My first question for you today is, what do you think is the biggest time-wasting activities for employees and teams? What do you think they're wasting all their time on? Is it just a phone?
Oh, this is great. This should have been in this morning's meeting. Look, the big one is 1 minute meetings. Absolutely. You know, people have an open door policy. They come in. If you work in an open plan, everyone just walks up to people while they're doing something and says, "Hey, I need you for 1 minute." They are the worst, right? Absolute biggest time wasters. 2, emails. Emailing is just a shit show. Check your email in the morning, check your email at lunchtime, check your email at the end of the day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I watch people check their emails like constantly, and it's just another disruption, right? Multitasking, biggest killer of productivity known to mankind. You know, in the 80s, we had this really big push on multitasking. It's not true. You need the Pomodoro method. Stay on task. The other one is procrastination. People sit and procrastinate forever and ever. If you want a copy of my best-selling book, How to Get Shit Done, hit us up, drop a comment, message Simone on LinkedIn, wherever, and we'll send you a free copy. No problem, right? It's 11 awesome chapters. Now, but let me a caveat there. Passive procrastination is the problem, not active procrastination. And chapter 11 in the book actually goes into a lot of detail around active procrastination. The other one is people have a lack of motivation, and that affects them, right? You know, this morning I gave everyone a big blast on our team meeting, and I'm sure that for some people that was demotivating, and I'm sure productivity is going to be down anyway. But at the end of the day, I need to get a message across that, you know, there are certain things that I just won't tolerate. And, you know, not meeting deadlines is one of them, you know. As you know, I'm never late. Never late. It's like I'm always on time, if not a few minutes early. And the other one is those online distractions and social platforms, right? The constant notifications on that bloody phone. Yeah, you know, if I see people that have notifications going off, I literally just grab their phone now and throw it. If you're in one of
Yeah.
my workshops and your phone's going ding, 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 I don't even need to hear it. I just need to look, and I walk around the room. I grab their phones and I just take them and I put them away. I'm like, how in
Yeah.
the hell can you focus on me, right? And, let's say it's a workshop for a client and the client's paying for their team to be there. That pisses me off, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is actually clutter. Anyone that sees the way I work, I have a huge white diamond desk. Why? Because, as you know, I draw on it, right? I use it like a whiteboard. But also, I have nothing on it. I have a picture of my wife and I from our wedding day. I have 2 huge screens in front of me. I have a microphone to speak, but that's it. Everything else is clear. My side table is clear. It has all the files that I need to work on for the day. So, clutter. Does that answer your question? Is that 2 minutes, or have I gone way over?
You just went over by like 10 seconds. That's okay.
Cool.
I totally agree with all of that. And I've actually even had days where I've taken my watch off because I just feel like the constant notifications and things that come on your watch can be very, very distracting as well.
Well, I mean, I have all those things turned off. So, like, I have a smartwatch because of the metrics that it keeps, not because I need it to tell me when I have a meeting. Even though that's the only alert that pops up, right? And if it's anyone in my favorites that rings me, otherwise nothing, right? Because I need to know when there is a meeting, right? So that I'm not running late. And so at the end of the day, that's it. And I have them set up to 5 minutes, 5-minute warnings. So it's just like if I'm on one of my tangents, I'm like, okay, cool, gotta go. Hasta mañana.
Yeah, it really comes down to all those distractions, isn't it? It's huge. Yeah. All right, so let's move into the second question today of how do you set clear goals and expectations to improve employee productivity? I feel like this is just a review of our morning meeting, but
well,
weird coincidence sometimes with what we talk about on these hot seat episodes.
Look, I think I've got a bigger smile on my face now than what I did this morning. I think the word I used was, okay, I'm going to put myself on mute before I blow a gasket. So that should give all of our listeners a really good glimpse of what I'm like. And Simone can happily tell you another time, you do not want to be on the receiving end of a lack of productivity and accountability when you're around me. So this list is really simple for me. One, you've got to set goals that align with the company's objectives. Okay, and that's something that's really pissing me off in our business at the moment because I feel like everyone's aligned, but then they're not. Right? And I don't want to get into the specifics of this morning, but that's really big for me because we put a lot of effort into creating alignment and creating shared goals. And when people say yes and then they do the opposite, that pisses me off. Right? But if you want to do that, that's what you've got to do. You've got to also invite employees to identify their job-specific goals. Okay, really important. And then use a productivity matrix to try and bring it together, which is something that you do for us. Probably hasn't been announced yet, but let's announce it anyway. Simone, as of the 1st of September, will become officially the general manager of the group. And her primary focus is to keep everyone accountable on the juggernaut of tasks and companies that we have, not just including our clients. So number 3 then is set specific SMART goals. Notice that the first 3 things that I have talked about is around goals, okay? And the 4th one as well that I'm going to tell you about is you got to emphasize attainable goals, okay? And then I'm going to give you another one about goals because this is, if you see where I'm going to, goals is the key, right? It's about setting those consistent goals for every employee, right? Regardless of their responsibilities. Because what you're trying to do to increase productivity and outputs, you must have accountability. You must have clarity. So the other one, though, is that you got to reward the employees who achieve their goals, right? And a reward doesn't mean a financial reward. It could just mean a bloody thank you. I know that when I send private messages to you guys, when I know that you've done a really good job, I know that people actually light up because they know that I just don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Unless you've done a really good job, I just won't give you any recognition for it because to me, I don't recognize half-baked work. It just doesn't work for me. And it's also a shortfall of mine too. The other thing is that you've got to work really closely with the employees who are falling short, okay, and coaching them and working through them. So that's really how you set those clear goals and expectations, and hopefully they will help you improve that productivity.
Yeah, I think that's really important because a lot of the time inside of a business you can lose the idea of having goals in the same way of using the SMART principle. We all use it in like a health context, or if you're maybe just a solopreneur or something, you're setting those goals. But sometimes when you have a team, it's easy to just sort of let that go in terms of this, like being really clear on the metrics of those goals. So that's a really important one. All right, let's move straight into question 3 then. My last question for you today, Kristian, is how do you help your team move forward from being busy to being productive and delivering outputs? Now, I know you're writing a paper on busy at the moment. So are we allowed to have a few insights on the work?
No, look, absolutely. The main reason why I took my glasses off is, I preach this stuff all the time. It's not rocket science. We do it with clients, we do it with their teams. Some people get it, some people need 13 workshops to get it. But clarity through goals and expectations.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the light globe moment. The other one is, again, the shared purpose, vision, and culture. You got to hire right and then fire quickly if they don't fit. Okay. Too many people that I work with are too nice, and they hold on to people for too long. You got to be brutal. If someone's not the right fit, they're never going to comply. And you got to work with them to exit the business and understand, because they also probably don't want to be there either. So that's really important. The other one is you got to focus on your huddles. So what we do is you focus through huddles and daily accountability. That's what helps you move from busy to productive and delivering outputs. Really putting it at top of mind for people. We have a productivity matrix that you actually hold everyone accountable to, or you do your best to. And we even, like, if someone needs to move the date, we don't remove the old date. We keep that date and then put a new date in, just to be able to go, okay, well, hang on, you're now asking for a third revision of that date. Well, why? What's going on? And normally you can identify a whole bunch of other things. So therefore, training is really important.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one is, incentivize outcomes and outputs rather than time. That's a big one. I don't really care. You guys know that. I don't really care how many hours you work. I care about the outputs, and that's where I get really pissed off when I look at the outputs not being there. And then people are telling me they're working 60, 70 hours a week. Well, I just call bullshit, because it's like, if you're spending all your time procrastinating or on money-making activities, and you're in a money-making activity role, then there's either bullshit or you're getting something completely wrong. We need back to training, right? So, and that also comes out through driving internal communication. The other thing is trying to run productive meetings where someone like me turns off their microphone because he can't stop talking. And so, that's you've noticed now in the last week or so I've been doing that. I'm intentionally turning my mic off, so that if I have something that I want to say, because I'm an out loud thinker, I just say it and no one else can hear it, but then I write it down. So I'm doing a dual recording. So that's the technique you haven't quite caught on to, but that's what I've been trying to do, because I'm always looking at trying to be better. Like that's my jam. How do I get better and therefore help people? And this brings me to the point of de-hassling, which we spent a fair bit of time on last week. So I don't think we should spend too much time on this. You've got to get the hell out of the way. Like I sometimes get in the way. I'm a very, very driven, super competitive human being, and I don't apologize for that. And for some people, that doesn't necessarily work. I find that I struggle with that, that it doesn't. So therefore, being flexible is really important as an employer. And I've been promoting 4-day work weeks before they were cool. So making sure that our female workforce, which accounts for 92% of our entire workforce across the country, has flexibility to pick up children, drop children off, do those bits and pieces, work from home when and if they can. The other one, give recognition, give feedback, and then I think finally just kind of automate anything that's possible, right? If you want to help your team go from being busy to being productive and delivering outputs, really focus on automation.
Yeah, I think we've all had those days where we get to the end of the day and you think, what did we do all day? We know that we were working, we know that we're doing things, but we actually don't have anything of significance to really show for it. So I think a lot of the points that you highlighted there show where you can improve or where you can sort of reflect on where you might be lacking within that. So I guess I'm going to sneak in one little bit of a question at the end there is, how do you really see this? Like, how do you know when when you need to sort of coach or when you need to offer more training to an employee?
Look, I'm a big believer that you should be coaching your senior leadership team every week.
Mm,
We have a one-on-one with all of our senior leaders with me every week, where we work through, a very structured approach to what were their wins, what did they do. So I get a good snapshot of where, and then we focus on the priorities, and then again we kind of have a 1 hour, 2 hour, now it's a 2 hour group meeting every Monday that walks us through those. So that's I think you've got to identify as an employer, but I also believe that coaching should be a weekly thing. And
mm,
people say, "Oh, we don't have any time." Well, again, I just call bullshit, right? Like, and
yeah.
again, that's because you're busy doing shit that doesn't make you money. And if you're an employer who doesn't believe in training and development through coaching, then you've already failed. And I don't care how good your business is, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to come to a point where your business isn't good, and you've been lucky.
Mm,
Some people that I walk into I do a lot of consulting work for elephants, as you know. Not the real elephants, but companies that have been in business for 10 to 20 years and are going through generational change and bits and pieces. And it is so obvious that they've been lucky. They've had the same 7 or 8 people in leadership roles that have never left. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, change the guard. I don't want to be here anymore. And then it's like, oh, crap. Now what? And they've got no layers of leadership. They've got no other structures in place. And that's the stuff that we do. We help people build layers of leadership into their
mm,
organizations. And sometimes, we do the weekly coaching work for the clients. Sometimes we train them to do it. And then we try and do monthlies. And, there's another opportunity. A lot of companies don't do monthly training, whereas we encourage clients to, do a whole day where you take your whole team away for the whole day and you do, you revise all your top priorities, where everyone's going. So it's about keeping a pulse. I guess that's what I'm saying. If you're an organization that keeps a pulse of your organization on a weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, annually basis, this shit comes naturally. But see, the dilemma is that most employers suck, right? Most business owners suck. And you know why they suck? It's not because they are actually shit. They just
mm,
don't know, Simone. You don't know what you don't know. When I started my corporate career, I didn't know anything. I was just being dumped in the middle of it, and I had to go and learn it on my own. Now I'm a high achiever, so I go and do it. But there were jobs that I didn't do great at. Then I went out and studied, and I got that, and then when I became an entrepreneur, right, and have now, I'm on the 80th journey, right, the
mm,
80th venture. Man, I have learnt from the school of hard knocks, right? So I know one thing, and one thing for certain, that you only wear bracelets like this if your daughter is 5 and she makes them, okay? But and I haven't taken it off for like 5 days, 6
beautiful
days.
bracelet.
I
It
love it.
really.
It's like one of the best things that I've ever been given. But you've got to know, right? And the only way you know is through learning. And now, if you haven't got any experience or you have not invested in you, then you're going to be limited. And this is
Mm,
why I go to the point that you need great advice, right? And again, I'm not for everyone, right? I really am
mm,
not. But ironically, 80% or 82% now, I think it's gone down a little bit, of our clients are women,
yeah.
right? So people who think that I'm pretty ballsy and no bullshit and kind of blunt, you might be very mistaken.
Mm,
It's the empathy that's in the background, but also I like working with people who want to get shit done. And then, no offense, men, women want to get more work done. Not all of them, but most of them, and especially the ones that are in business. They've got their working mums, they've got husbands, they've got all those things, and they still manage to juggle all of those balls.
mm,
And it is, it's a great lesson for me every day.
yeah.
Lucy's going to be pleasantly surprised when she gets home. I did all the dishes, wiped down all the benches, and put everything away out of the dishwashers, and cryovac, 14 kilos of truffle cacciatore. They were finally ready. because I took 2 hours off this morning because I can.
Yeah.
Right. And she's going to get home, and that's my contribution because you've got to contribute.
Yeah.
Right? Like business and life is the same.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're out there and you're an employer, have a pulse on your company. And if you haven't got a pulse and you don't know how to check it, call one of us, right? Call Simone, get on the phone, and see if we can help you. I mean, it's not that hard,
Yeah.
It's
about implementing the systems and processes, right?
Yeah,
and sticking
correct.
to it, and really being consistent with all of those things, and knowing that the teamwork is inside the business as well as outside, because it does contribute. Whether you like to leave your personal life at home when you walk into your workspace, that is still a mindset, and there is still everything going on in other people's lives. So it's good to have a team or an environment where you can feel invested in that. And from an employee perspective, when I think about the training and other things that I'm involved in, or being in a part of those meetings where you have a voice and you're able to express your opinions, your views, your insights, it helps you invest in the actual company and what's happening. And then I'm more driven to deliver because I'm on the journey with you as a business owner or as an entrepreneur to being on that ride.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the game plan.
That's so cool. Love it. Had to throw it in. I haven't said it for a while. That was a long warm up, that one. I wasn't sure where that was going to go.
Any good news? No, that's it. All right, we're done, right?
Well, Kristian Lavolsi, that is another Hot Seat episode Wednesday done. Pleasure spending time with you as always. We'll be back next Wednesday. Who knows if it'll be 5 p.m. or we'll decide to make some productive use of time earlier on in our afternoons and bring it to you earlier.
Yeah, and look, and if you have listened to it live, type in live. But if you're coming back to it, hit replay just to let us know. I know last week a few people, like a lot of people actually went back to replay. It was really interesting for us to know. Until next time, live with purpose.
See you soon.
Working with Kristian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Kristian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Kristian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Kristian Lavolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Kristian. This is just the beginning for us.
Are you ready to start taking action on your business? Would you like to spend more time with your family? Then call 1300-643-229 and start building momentum right now. I know you're busy. In fact, you are so busy that you don't have time to work on your business or yourself. Often tossing and turning at night, worrying about the how-tos and the cash flow. How on earth can you possibly get off the hamster wheel so that you can take a helicopter view to see where you'll be in 90 days, 1 year, or 3 years from now? In this program, I will take you from sleepless nights to blissful sleep. You'll have more time with your family and you will have the clarity and direction so you can grow and flourish. Call 1300-643-229 now and start building momentum.